Kamehameha! Oh no, Kenny's dead. Wait, we might still be able to save him. Oh no! Dun da dun da dun da da dun da da dun da 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 dun 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 da dun 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 dun. Yeah, that's the best I got. Sorry. Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. Sorry it's been a couple of weeks, but there wasn't anything playing last week that I wanted to review. There wasn't anything new that was even playing at my work, so that's why it's been 2 weeks since I've done a video. But of course, a new movie just came out. It's a big release, so I have to talk about it. And this is for, of course, Jurassic World Dominion. Now, in this film, the dinosaurs' world has been completely destroyed, so they are now living among the world of the humans now, so... but of course, it's not peacefully. They're still very in danger to the world, but there's, of course, the big thing that happens in this movie is that Owen and Claire's adoptive daughter gets taken along with the Raptor Blues kid as well, and they have to go save both of them. And throughout the film, we follow Owen and Claire, and of course the returning cast of the original movie, the very first Jurassic Park, which is kind of exciting, but at the same time, I didn't really feel like it mattered that much, because I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't like this movie. Like, I really, really didn't. Now, I don't hate everything about it. There is some stuff that I did enjoy, but I'm going to be completely honest. I wasn't really that excited for this movie. In fact, I wouldn't really say this was on my most anticipated movies of 2022 list, let alone not even in the top 10, because another Jurassic World movie doesn't really get me, like, super hyped up. Just like how I wasn't really that excited for the new Fantastic Beasts movie. Okay, first off, what I liked, okay? The dinosaurs look great, once again. They use both practical and CGI, mostly CGI. All the Jurassic Park movies, I think all of the dinosaur effects in the movies are fantastic, even though the only one I really cared about was the first movie. Hell, the first Jurassic World, I enjoyed. In terms of all the sequels, that's the film that I rewatched the most in terms of the sequels. I thought the first Jurassic World was a good return to the franchise that I really didn't feel like needed its own franchise, but it got its own franchise. And the last movie I thought was very unnecessary, but it was fine for a dinosaur film. But this film, I feel like even the dinosaur stuff, I didn't even feel like worked, because there really isn't that much in terms of dinosaur action and stuff like that. I feel like it's mostly there to just bring back returning characters and bringing back stuff that was in the original film, but I kind of feel like these movies kind of forgot what made the original film great. Like, the first film wasn't more than just a dinosaur film. It had classic moments, not even involving the dinosaurs. I mean, it had such a great cast, and it made their characters so memorable. And the script, too, it had so many classic one-liners, and it was just a hell of a great time, and it didn't have any moments of complete filler, while this film, I feel like, does, as it's by far the longest in the Jurassic Park/World series, but it just has so much filler that it's just completely unnecessary. I mean, sure, a lot of it is essential to the plot, but the plot itself, I could care a whole lot less about. In fact, when it's just abandoning the plot, it just feels like another dinosaur movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great to see the returning cast. It's great to see Alan Grant and the others back, Jeff Goldblum back. But in order to have these characters return in a great, I don't know how to pronounce it, but let me just say they needed a better script, because that's another thing. The writing in the Jurassic World movies really are just cheesy in that bad type of way, because there's nothing, like, remotely, interesting about the dialogue. It doesn't have any classic quotes or anything like that. Even the characters themselves, like, I never considered, like, Owen or Claire the next, like, amazing protagonist to root for, because That's one of the biggest problems I had with Jurassic World is the romance story. Like, it had such an unnecessary romance. Like, even with the other two movies, the romance was just, I don't know, lackluster and just didn't really add anything to the story. I mean, it does try your best to care for these characters, especially the girl, because, of course, she isn't born normally like others, but they have a twist later that she's not, she's sort of the same as most others, just in a different type of way. I know it's kind of a spoiler, but I feel like I should just bring it up because, you know, if I really did enjoy this movie, then I wouldn't spoil it for you, but I didn't really enjoy it, so just a warning out there. And in terms of its effects, like when it's not focused on the dinosaurs, there's like this one crappy green screen effect that is super noticeable that kind of felt pretty hilarious. And it's involving a plane and a seat that just burst out. And take it in my perspective, like right here. Okay, imagine like if I was like falling right now, and behind me, like I'm in a seat right now. I'm just gonna play it on for you. Just imagine that, but if I was like falling from a plane and there's a parachute. That's how I can describe it. It was actually I almost wanted to laugh because of how fake it looked. And yeah, the whole movie is supposed to be fake too, but the dinosaurs look realistic, and it does have some callback to the original film a little bit, but I think the biggest problem with this movie is that despite how long the movie is, it could have made that time worth it with all the opportunities it had. Like there are times in this movie where they could have done so much more justice, but it just felt flat. And those opportunities just felt absolutely wasted to make this film like this conclusion completely epic, but it just felt lackluster and very bland. And for its ending too, it just felt like the endings like they really didn't care. Like they're just ending it like, all right, we're done. Let's continue on with something else because really these movies just don't feel necessary. Even Jurassic World 1, while I like Jurassic World, it's still an unnecessary film, but I still had fun with it. But right here, it just had the movie just felt so long and it just dragged on so much. Throughout the film, I just felt like it dragged on, and when it does get to the dinosaur stuff, it's kind of exciting, but at the same time, it really didn't matter because it's mostly just, the normal stuff you would see in these movies that doesn't involve the dinosaurs. And when it does involve the dinosaurs, I felt like it really didn't matter. Well, sure, the characters we know and love are back, but with the lousy script and the generic like the generic action sequences with the humans, I feel like I don't know. I just kind of wanted to check out because the movie just dragged on and on and on, and it's at the point where I really didn't care. The only reason I saw this movie is because it's a big release. But like I said before, I wasn't. I could have just cared less about what was going on screen. I mean, it has some generic dialogue that we've heard before in other movies, like they try to make it out to be funny and comedic. Like there are some times with Jeff Goldblum. I mean, honestly, I think Jeff Goldblum was kind of the most entertaining character throughout because I don't know, he's Jeff Goldblum and he's supposed to have some funny moments throughout the moments. Even The Fly had some funny moments with him. But that's basically it. I mean, if they got better writers, they could have had better screen time with these characters, but it was just ugh. But in the end, guys, this movie was very forgettable. I kind of forgot what happened in the last movie, but right here, it's at the point where this movie didn't really need to be made. I mean, I guess this movie was to be made to like completely like finish off the Jurassic World series, kind of like with the Star Wars movies, which I really shouldn't talk about Star Wars. If I talk about Star Wars, I'm going to start talking about conversation, but the Star Wars, forget I mentioned Star Wars because I'd rather not talk about Star Wars right now. But in the end, it has some fine action sequences with the dinosaurs. The returning cast, I mean, is back, but the writing was sloppy. The story was generic. It plays more out like a rescue mission than a full out great, story about how the dinosaurs and mankind and stuff like that. Like the first movie was not just a dinosaur movie. Like, it had a really unique concept and a great one that worked with all of its amazing moments that didn't have just the dinosaurs, but of course the characters themselves. It was just incredible to see. Like, when Jurassic Park first came out, I mean, I wasn't born when the first movie came out, but it was a big deal. And it would make sense why it would spawn a franchise, but they really just didn't need to be made. Like, the Jurassic World trilogy is kind of the same to me how I feel about the Jurassic Park trilogy, the original Jurassic Park trilogy. Like, there's the first Jurassic Park, which is great. Second movie, okay. Third movie, hated. It's kind of like with this movie. First movie I liked. Second movie, eh. Third movie, didn't like. I wouldn't say I flat out hated it, but it's a movie that I feel like was just made to conclude a trilogy that was completely unnecessary. And it's one that I feel like I'm definitely gonna completely forget about in the next week or so. Because it's just there to conclude a series. And once it's done, alright, let's move on. I kind of hope this series is extinct now, because it really doesn't need to continue on. Like, I really hope it doesn't. Now, look, just because I'm giving this movie so much negativity, that doesn't mean that you don't have to see it, okay? You can still see it, just you don't have to go with what I'm saying, okay? I do these videos to give my opinions on these movies that I see, okay? I'm not making these videos to say you have to go out and see these movies. They're just recommendations, okay? I mean, I wouldn't recommend this movie, but that doesn't mean you don't have to see it, okay? Because if you want to see the movie, if you still want to see the movie, then fine, go ahead. You don't have to listen to what the critics are saying. You can just make up your own opinion. And hey, people might still have a good time. People might still say that there was enough action and screen time with the characters that will keep you investing. I mean, there's a lot of screen time with the characters, just like I mentioned before, the writing, it was just so bland. I could care a lot less. But hey, there are definitely going to be a lot of audiences that will enjoy the movie. So yeah, and that's cool if you do. But for me, I'm just I just could care a lot less. I mean, yeah. Now, before I end this video, you might have noticed that with me in the background of the skit, you might notice that there are some posters that I hung up. Well, there are a lot more posters I've hung up, and I am saving that for a future video. So you can definitely look forward to that, probably by, I don't know, maybe the next week or two. But yeah, but anyways, I'm really excited because we finally get to see Pixar on the big screen next week. I'm really, really excited, okay? And I could care a lot less about the LGBT controversy because I'm actually really excited to see what they're going to do with that. But I still do hope Lightyear is good because, hey, it's Pixar. I'll anticipate any Pixar movie. But yeah, I've been talking about this movie way too long. I shouldn't be talking about it for this long. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Word out.